Hey, it's the Muffin here. Welcome back to the channel. I'm going to be touching on something that maybe a lot of players have questions about in terms of why does wargaming change the meta of the game? Now, there may be a lot of players out there that don't even know what does meta mean, and it's talked about among YouTubers and things of that nature, and I don't want to go into this video assuming anything. And you'll have to let me know what maybe you thought or think the definition is, or put it in your own words, because I had to take a step back and think about, I know what it means, but I really had to take a step back and try putting it into words of what the definition of meta meant. So meta refers to the outcome or the competitive advantage of a game. So like, for example, when you hear YouTubers talk about heavies being the new meta or medium tanks being the new meta, typically that's referring to tier 10. It can refer to different aspects of the game, but it's like, for example, recently Wargaming did make heavy tanks the meta. They had increased their hit points, made some changes, and that caused more players to want to play heavy tanks. There was a bit more of a little bit more of a competitive advantage, so to say. And in this recent update, Wargaming has made it so that now medium tanks are making a comeback. They're the meta. Making the British tier 10 medium tank, increasing its speed and so forth. So now you may be asking why does Wargaming change the meta? And that's what this video is about. I've been playing this game now for about 7 years, long time, and there are things that Wargaming does to try and do all it can to keep its player base. They want to try keeping it interesting. It's another lever for them to pull. And some of those levers that Wargaming tries to have available to keep the game interesting is, as we know, it's like they come out with a new premium tank all the time. They do these events with these new tanks you can get. They have these different game modes like Gravity and Mad Games, doing everything they can to keep the game interesting. And also, by changing the meta, there are some things that Wargaming does also in changing the meta that influence and they look at, okay, these type of tanks are played with more frequently, or these types of tanks are performing better than these other types of tanks between maybe medium, heavy, and making those changes. Another thing it does when they do change the stats in the meta is it makes you want to play some tanks maybe you hadn't played in a while and didn't want to play because it wasn't the meta, so to say. So keeping the game very interesting, using what they can to hold on to its player base as much as possible. And so these are just some of the things that Wargaming has at its fingertips to try and do that. They want to do what they can to keep the player base. If they keep the player base, that means their money. And so I just thought this was like quite interesting, because if you do the same thing over and over again and there's not a whole lot of things evolving or changing in the game, things can just get boring. I mean, Blitz YouTubers do say it all the time, that after they've played the game for a long time, they just want, they get bored of it. So another lever Wargaming has, these are my thoughts on it. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. This is the Muffin here. You guys stay cool and keep tanking.